I have a slightly reductivist take on the transference of power. Like, we actually have a kind of a role play going on where we mimic transference of power. If you could describe how power is well, transliterated interdimensionally, like, because it never, like, power is like energy. So if energy exists, then it can never not exist, but it can change form and it can move interdimensionally. So there's archetypal energy in a symbol, and it's kind of a hearkening, educational, sublime, technological, embedded thing that's inside of the symbol. So we devise different ways to tap into it, and our diagrams and our rigs kind of resemble the principle behind tapping into energy. So if we can use gestures, symbols, characters, different things to communicate. Like, we have character letters, alphabet, spelling words, making sentences. We're, in order to make your point, you have to arrange in a contrast between different principles of or properties and things. Like, there's different overlapping things that go. Your brain is advanced enough to know what's going on. I cannot explain, but so if you can describe, because I can't explain, if you can describe how energy shifts and transmutates, like, it's a, what's it called, transmute the density field, and come up in another dimension, a non-physical dimension where it still represents energy, like an archetypal symbol. And then somebody else can pull out the sublime technology, and it makes for grotesque history. And it's all about tapping into the energy. So then you would be the leader. If you could describe, I would have to accept that you are the boss. Like, you are the leader. You're elected. You're hired. Believe it or not. It could be like this. Like, you get hired, you don't even realize it. You know what I mean? Like, you think that you're just conducting, it is conductivity. So you're just conducting yourself in a sense of not any longer reductivism, but what's it called? Compatibility. Then I think I got a friend. I found a friend. You know what I mean? And so that's similar to a transistor and a conduit and a, like, different things to make an electric charge operate within your modality. So, like, I found a friend. You don't have to think about it the same way. You know what I mean? But it's electricity. So, because we could have the same envision, the same destination. So that's compatibility. Then there's different ways to think about, like, so in the past, okay, religiosity could come about a different way than a sacrifice for atonement. Before a sacrifice for atonement, what people imagined that it was is that the God, these alchemical deities that summoned us to raise the consciousness of matter, they can't suffer on behalf of eternity. We need to birth the gods, they will not be summoned, because you have to take a contract where, since we're mortal, we can suffer. Since they are eternal, since they are, no, not eternal, what is it called? Well, yeah, I mean, there's an aspect of that, but then there's an aspect of they're supposed to be immortal, right? So since they're immortal, you have to remove suffering from them, except for the case of Prometheus, who is tortured on the Isle of Patmos for giving. He's chained to the volcano called Tartarus, and to be eternally pecked out his eyes by vultures and everything. He's tortured toward Tartarus, you know. It seems like we went back on the contract, but okay. So like, it's like, because they don't have the energy to birth themselves. They get it from humans. That's why we think that the Egyptians were visited by aliens, because they thought of it as reconstructing the body of Osiris. The subterranean Osirian body is to basically like an amplifier, you know, to get more energy from, more output from you, right? So Aset, after Osiris was murdered and his body parts were scattered, right? They feared the knowledge, you know what I mean? It's a grotesque history, right? She, in a way that we renditioned for the mythology, for the mythology to coincide with technology, needed to reconstruct his body. She can find all of the parts of his body, but his penis. How did the god get impregnated? Because after she reconstructed his body, she consummated and she received the son of Osiris. Like, she received his progeny, but without the penis. Like, she finished his body off with a wooden phallus, and then was still able to get pregnant, because they have a contract with. It's like the man birthed the gods. Like, man contributed to the gods some creative imagination and things like that, where they would not exist. How did she still manage to get pregnant? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that she's like supposed to be able to get pregnant from a wooden phallus. That's the whole point. But she did, okay, and it's because they borrowed spirit from humans. Hue means color, man, and color means spirit. You have become spirited. You have become hysterical. It doesn't mean you're black, white, yellow, red, anything. Not that. Like, we're not talking about race. You have become spirited because you fell out of, when heaven lowered to the physical plane to birth man, and then you fell from heaven. So ever since then, you've been trying to get back in there and you've been hysterical.